What is going on, guys? Joey here, and please excuse the scruff on my face. But today, we're going to be talking about traveling and training, staying on track. This has just been on my mind a lot lately because I have a bunch of lifters dealing with travel while there's like some pretty big competitions coming up. So I've been trying to really just refine or give them some guidelines to help them through those tough situations, right? Those tough weeks where maybe you have a really big lift coming up, but you have like an overseas flight, or maybe you just have a couple smaller flights or something like that. So I'm just gonna go over a couple things that will help, and maybe we can like adjust expectations a little bit so you kind of can handle the effects of the travel a little bit better, so you're not so stressed out or sad when you go to the gym and you don't have the typical week 4. Now, the first thing is, well, one, we could do a whole video on week 4 and whether or not it should be like better than the other weeks, but typically if you're pacing your stuff out, it should, if that's the way you want to go about it. There are many different ways of going about it. But let's say, one thing you have to keep in mind is you cannot compare your travel schedule lifts to your at home, nothing crazy going on, I'm literally just home training. That is like completely different. And if you keep doing that, you're gonna go insane. You're going to feel really bad about your lifts. You're gonna be really insecure about your lifts. You're not gonna have confidence. And this is something that I started to see once my lifters went through this process a few times. If you do what you need to do to stay on track, you might not be at your best as if you were just home and all of your energy expenditure was like up to you, meaning you get like your steps per day and you train and that's it, right? When we travel, we are sometimes taking more steps than we think. We're skipping meals because we have to be at the airport. We have to do things at weird times. Sometimes in the airport, you don't have the right food. A lot of Sheffield athletes will bring things and they just bring everything because you can't risk it, right? There's too much on the line. And once you kind of like get used to that, you can say, okay, well, today I had to travel here, I traveled that, got right off the plane, and I didn't have the best day, but it was a pretty solid day. And something that you'll find is if you can do the best that you can, if you actually like do everything the way that you're supposed to when it comes to like nutrition, maybe you're gonna be out for a really long time, you eat a little bit more and just auto-regulate some things like that, you can really put yourself in a good position. And what you will find is that when you do get back on track, it is almost as if there was no travel in the first place. You're able to kind of hit a good workout. You have a workout that's like, wow, like, okay, I'm only like 5 kilos off from where I thought I would be, or maybe you do just fine, or maybe you actually pay more attention to your food, your sleep, your steps, all those different types of things, and then you end up doing better. So the first thing that's going to really save you is just like getting enough food. So if you get your maintenance calories or whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, and you really make sure that you're locked in with your protein, you're going to be way better off than if you don't do that. And I find that that's probably the one that people screw up the most, is like they just travel all day, do whatever, and then they just eat like one meal at the end of the day, or they try to train now and it's like, you're done for, right? You're finished. How are you going to expect to perform when you didn't do anything to put anything in your body that you needed to train? Staying hydrated, weird things can happen on planes. The body can bloat. You need to definitely stay hydrated. I would say overdrink, like just overdo it a little bit, so that you can be more safe, right? More on the safe side. Same thing with calories. Also, for example, there's a couple airports in Europe, man, they're big. Like sometimes where you land and to where you actually like leave, you're gonna walk like a couple miles, like literally like a mile almost. At least it feels that way. I know the Stockholm airport is really, 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 really big. I think it's the biggest one. I'm not entirely sure, but that one, carrying your luggage, That's also making it harder. It's not like you're just walking, you're carrying a bunch of luggage. That one definitely cooked me. But if you do these things, right? So you're like, okay, I had to walk a little bit more. I'm gonna have a little bit extra carbs, right? I'm in a different time zone. My sleep is cooked. I'm gonna give myself grace that first day after the first day after that. You're not gonna be on track. You're gonna be training at a weird time. Just like give yourself the mental pass to like, okay, I'm gonna do my best, but it's just not gonna be, if I'm lifting at 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. normally, like I'm lifting at 2 a.m. when normally I'm asleep, right? So your body's just not gonna give you what you want in that moment. Now, sometimes you can surprise yourself, right? Giving yourself lower expectations during those times. You can sometimes like pull it together, and that's a great feeling because you feel like you're still moving forward, and you absolutely will. So the water, and then obviously trying to sleep as much as you can. Take naps. Naps are really, really useful. That can also really help. I'm trying to think. Trying to not take on too much. So let's say you're there, you have, something that you're supposed to do, and you got to do that job or whatever it is that you're doing. Try to limit like extra work during that time, and just save it for when you can, like, okay, let me get this out of the way first. Let me focus on my training, and then once I get back, and then I can, like, now that my overall like outside stress is coming down, I can add in a new thing, which is just stress management. If you do those things, if you try to stay on track as best you can, like I said, you'll get home, give yourself like a week. If you're in a different time zone for a week, I would say give yourself about that much time, and you should be right back on track as if you didn't really miss much. It will literally save you so much grief if you can keep on track in that way. When you're competing at big meets like Sheffield, or you're going to a national meet that's like on the other side of the country, or whatever, anything like that, if you live in Australia, you're pretty much gonna have to go, like, to any international thing, you're gonna have to go somewhere crazy, right? So it's gonna be like a lot of travel. Getting there early for sure, getting on a routine in your new environment as fast as you can, and then being consistent just to kind of like set that rhythm. It's gonna save you, but it doesn't have to be all like, well, I'm traveling, so my training just gonna be shit. Deloading while traveling is also something that can work if you've like kind of earned it, right? You feel like you're in that point in your training where you're like, all right, I've been building for like a couple weeks, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever, and it's time to deload. Just hit it when you know you have that crazy travel. The main takeaway from this, and I think the one that if the mind, there's construction going on, so please excuse me. If the mind is ready for what's coming and understands, in general, if you understand why you feel weak, even if it's from natural training fatigue, if it's from variables are off or whatever, then you usually have a lot easier time getting through it, and you can sort of get through whatever it is that you need to get through, with the peace of mind knowing that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't have to worry about nothing else, and I'm gonna keep it rolling. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So like, just understanding like what it is that you're dealing with, like the reality of the situation, can really help you mentally. And like I said, sometimes from travel, you might be on your protein, you might be on your sleep, you might be on whatever, but you're just like less bloated than normal, or maybe you're slightly more dehydrated or whatever. Like, and that could be the only thing, right? It's like a small little thing that's like keeping you from being where you need to be. So just wanted to come at you guys with that little video. Give yourself grace, stand on top of your stuff, and then when you do get back on track, you're gonna be better off than you would have thought. I think a lot of people just take travel as an excuse to just, you know what I mean? So anyway, see you guys in the next one. Peace.